So what is something?
This music slaps.
So we're on here. We're behind the scenes. Hey.
They can't hear us, right?
Yeah, people can hear us. We're live. So grab somebody. Make sure that you're watching.
I got Mario watching.
Yeah, I see. I like to talk like I have no etiquette during the promo beginning, so I just like to be ridiculous. So. Well, we're gonna wait. We're not waiting that long. Okay, good. We got 3 people in there. Go to the comments and let us know who's in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so that should have told me.
I think Mario's watching.
All right. So let's get food out. All right, here we are, the Cosmic Mama here with Alex Liberato. Did I say it right? Yes.
Oh, you did, yeah.
I got to stop messing around saying Liberace before I mess something.
No, it's fitting. You should. Yeah.
Oh,
I approve.
Your message approved. I love saying that. How are you tonight?
Super, super, super good.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, I am too.
I've been meaning to, I just never reach out in time. You guys, Terry's here, but her computer froze and she'll be back in a minute. But if you're watching, drop a comment. Let us know. Hit the like, share the video so we can get some people in here. But it's really cool to be able to hang out with Alex. Alex is a part of Unscripted Liberation Codes, and he has a partner on the show, which is Mr. Mario. Did Mario just get married?
Yes, he did. Yes, Mario Miharis.
I saw the pictures. That was really cool. Did you go?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's really neat.
I did the toast and everything. I'm very special.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm going to show you their channel. So this is another YouTube channel. Getting into SSP veterans and reincarnation and past lives. I mean, we met at the conference and this was the best. Full Disclosure Now conference down there in Sarasota Beach. And wow, you got all the good guys on here. Matthew, Clinton, Alondra. Alondra is so amazing.
You, well, I've been saving the best for last, and your video segment that we did together, we need to get up there. We got a little bit delayed with Mario's wedding, and then, of course, Asheville, North Carolina just got slammed with a hurricane, right? So Cosmic Mama's video is forthcoming.
I am in full effect. The day we met, we fell in love. It was like, but okay.
I was smitten.
Oh, I sure was too, because I was planning on stalking you, but I found out. Okay, Susan's here.
Oh, I heard a doorbell.
Stop ringing the bell, Susan. Jesus. Got it. We got you. All right. So yeah, that was a great time. So you're not single though.
No. I've been.
How long have you been off the market?
16 years. Can you believe it?
Holy smoke.
Yeah.
Do you all pick people up together?
Huh?
Yeah. Okay, so
I mean, it's fun, and that's 16 years in gay years. That's an eternity. Like that is just that's unheard of. Yeah, that's not unheard of.
I have a friend. I've known him since 2001.
Yeah.
He's now with his 9th partner, and he was married to 2 of them.
Oh wow!
And divorced, yeah. So it's like, Okay.
That's
Wow.
funny. No surprise.
And I said, it's just Alex.
And we know a lot of Alexes, don't we?
Yeah, yes, we do, don't we?
There are a
Well,
lot of cosmic Alexes.
so people might not know what we're talking about tonight, but tonight what we're going to be talking about is it's kind of scary out there. How you doing, Susan? I know you were here. We're talking about some there's so many disgruntled videos out there. There's so many channels just dedicated to the unfun side of dating. And I'm not really sure if is it the loud minority, but we'll get into just discussions about that later. But do you remember your dating life? How was it, Alex?
Slutty. I mean, let's be real. Let's be real.
Well, you got to break some eggs, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you got to kind of go through the Rolodex before you get you're the one, and that makes
Kissing some frogs.
Yeah.
So we're going through it. Is Susan still in Iowa? Susan.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're giving out that information.
Yeah, I'm in Iowa, but I just went to pay my mortgage today, and I had an alert because next month my mortgage payment goes up $256 a month for property tax. Yeah, I'm so done with this place now, because now 4 years later I'm actually paying my mortgage payment in property tax. That's how much they've increased my mortgage payment with the property tax. Every year they do it, and they must have increased it at least $5,000 this year. That's bullshit. I'm just tired of it. That's one of the reasons I hate the red states. Why am I paying property tax on a property I don't even own yet? I'm still paying for it. That should be illegal. It's bullshit.
You never really even own it.
And that's
how you never really own it.
Still, yeah. They're going to property tax you out of your house so that you can't even live there. Yeah.
Well,
so
let me tell you, here in Canada, you own your house even though the mortgage company owns it, and so you're responsible for the taxes from day one. As soon as you move into that house, you pay property taxes here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, in Florida, every time we have a hurricane, the mortgage that goes up because of the insurance too. So keeping insurance. Well, he's I hope everything works out for you, Susan.
Yeah,
totally. I hope we're about to be talking about dating, but we can talk about taxes. We can have a whole show about taxes too. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna just go ahead and break the screen and just go ahead and start with a video so we can go ahead and get started. Oh man, where are we gonna go? Where are we gonna go? Oh my god, these guys are that one's interesting. Okay, we'll start with her. We'll just start with her. We'll go.
A man, and he says anything to you,
break up with him. And need to be doing all that talking. Or push his head back down and tell him to get back to work.
when you are dating a man and he says anything to you,
break up with him.
What do you think about
Also,
this? I was in another chat and I saw this man. He was giving all this advice in the video, and everybody was just like, "Bam!" Because he was a man. They were just like, "Bam, bam, 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 bam." Shut up. Like, I don't know how you feel. Everybody can speak on their own, but how you feel about it now. It doesn't matter. Now it just seems like it doesn't. We're only selecting certain voices to listen to based on whatever, maybe gender politics or something like that. Someone else put it in there. Feminism is the work of Satan. I mean, I've been just kind of noticing now that this whole thing with women right now, we're just being disconnected from the earth. So we're disconnected from maybe anything that's nurturing. It's like, don't breastfeed your boys when you have children and let them cry. And and anything that a man says is a lie. And so it's very painted, very these dark pictures. And 100%, yeah, it's really kind of creepy. Do you guys feel like this is true? Is it the minority speaking, the loud minority, or is it really the majority? How is it being viewed? How do you all view it?
I might jump in with a reaction. I feel like a lot of that is societal programming meant to disrupt, um, hijack natural human relations. I think we're all meatbags and we're on a little planet floating through space, right? And a lot of times I see all this bad programming on Lifetime or Hallmark, or like, you see it on TV, you see it in social media, and it's like, if he farts wrong, break up with him. And I'm like, I don't know, like if you're a sovereign divine being, you're not so affected by if your guy farts wrong or something, right? So that's kind of my reaction. I'm sort of like, be with him because you want to be. You don't have to be so absolutionist. You don't have to be like, he's my son and I have to kill him. There's middle ground where it's like, yeah, you annoy me. Like you can. There's a middle ground.
It seems to be painted like if you look at any show like King of Queens. Well, most of the TV shows, even Married with Children, most of the TV shows just kind of show the man as like, he's backwards, he's dumb, he's unattractive, maybe, and then the woman is hot and she's smart and the man is dumb. He's like someone you have to support and carry, and it seems to be pushing these tropes out so that this time, so as I'm dating, I was starting to wonder how much of my personality is what I was told that a woman should be like, what she should do, and how she should respond. Like, do you have to get angry every time someone's late? Do you have to be upset if someone just decides they don't like you and they don't choose you? Or if they go out with you once and they decide that they don't want to do it anymore? Because there's these programs that tell us the person is automatically wrong, I'm automatically right, I'm automatically the most beautiful, and he's dumb and he's stupid, and he's it's this big avalanche, or that women have to win every argument. Do you see how everything is a trope? Like we're just, but I think a lot of people have their hand on their hip, maybe acting it all out, not really understanding that. And Terry, I don't know, because you were in relationships before. I don't know. How was it then? I don't know what they were telling you that women were,
Well,
because it was, don't ever argue with the woman. You'll never win. So they teach us when we're little, argue, keep going, wear the person down and you'll win. It's like programming us to see this is who we are.
Yeah, I keep freezing, so I'll talk fast. But back when it was a different. I was at that point where the traditional role of the woman was changing. So,
oh shoot, she froze.
Oh, was right at the beginning. It was.
Is she freezing?
Okay, so. Okay, am I here? Anyway, for me, it was uncomfortable moving from that traditional role to more of that feminism, because it was just like, what am I supposed to? How am I supposed to act? That's what it was.
I get it. So it was caught up between that, right?
And what I turned of age. So
it was a little choppy, and I'm just going to go ahead and reiterate what you're saying. The roles, because you're coming from and raised a certain way, then this new, the new movement, feminism, we don't cook anymore, we got our own jobs. And I'm going to tell you what I see as a result of that is that I see women really should be ashamed of themselves of calling other women breeders, women kind of shaming other women for being housewives and moms, and being in traditional roles. And I guess I was in another woman's group, and I made a comment about me not getting married to this person who was older. And this lady said, why bother? We can just teach the females how to cook and measure. Don't even teach them how to read. Just keep them in the kitchen. And I was like, okay, ma'am, you don't have to be that extreme, because I was talking about me being a younger woman marrying someone who was older. And but people have this idea that you've been frauded out of life, because in their world they feel traditional roles are bad. And so, I mean, I've been around some women that, act as though they hate kids, or, they kind of make fun of moms. And I can't understand how we can embrace a movement like, I'm a woman and I'm going to embrace feminism, but you're going to basically down me for being a woman who wants to be at home and breastfeed. You know what I mean? And so it's making it uncomfortable even among women. So I don't know how you experienced that, Susan, or have you experienced that where you feel like some women are kind of coming forward with
Well,
that?
see, I was a police officer and detective, and I was a bodybuilder, but I also was canning vegetables, make from my garden, and making apple butter in my kitchen because I'd wear my uniform when I went to work, and then when I came home, I was mom doing all the mom stuff. I like to cook. I like to put my healing energy in the food. I like to make my tinctures. I like to make things that make people feel better, and I'll put my magic in it, and I'll purposely stand there with my pendulum saying, I raise this frequency of this, whatever it is, to the highest good, so it works for in the best possible way to expedite their healing, or whatever I made that for. And then, cut the cord, but the energy will be in there, because I wanted to heal people. But I don't understand these pink-hatted women that hate men. I was like, I worked a man's job. And then these same weird feminist women, oh, you just carry a gun because you have penis envy. I'm like, look, lady, the only time I have penis envy is when I have to pee in the woods, because I got to drip dry,
Yeah.
because I don't really see any advantage to me being a man. Because if I want to have babies, I can have a baby, but I didn't want to have kids. I didn't want to be a traditional mom. I wanted to travel and do all this other stuff. But my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I only applied to one college, which was Boston College, because I was an artist. I was really good at drawing, people's faces. And I loved photography back then. I was making my own slides and black and white photos in the basement in my little dark room that I had. And I wanted to be like Ansel Adams, and I was just going to travel around, meet all these cool people in all these different places. And I was never going to have a family or kids. And I told my mom it would only be by accident, but she threw away my college acceptance letter. And I didn't find out till I was 30 she did that. So
Oh,
yeah. And I could have had some white collar job somewhere, because what she wanted me to be a stay at home mom like her. She wanted me to have all these. But see, out east, it's 2.5 kids. So me coming from East Coast, Mid Atlantic, upbringing, it's more. You don't have 5 or 6 kids. We consider that greedy and gross, because the world's overpopulated as it is. So then I come out here and there's people with 6 kids. Unless you're traditional Catholic or Amish or a farmer, that's freaking weird to me. It really is. And it's bizarre, because how you're having all these children and you brag about your 5 or 6 children and you brought them into filth and poverty. That is not anything to be proud of. And I went by the high school out here, and it's another thing of living in one of these red states. They have a freaking daycare at the high school, because they promote teen pregnancy out here. I swear to God, they freaking do. Why would you want your child to ruin their youth? They're supposed to be a child. They're not supposed to be having sex and babies and stuff when they're teenagers. You do that in your 20s or 30s. And I also think it's weird. You got these 40 and 50-year-old people having kids. It's like, you could be dead by the time. What the hell? Who's going to take care of your kid? And I think that's selfish too. So I don't understand these feminists, because I come from you should have enough, or you have enough resources that your kids can be middle class, because I'm a third generation American. I'm Irish diaspora, I'm a descendant of them. And we were always taught, you make a better life for your children. You're supposed to be an example, not like these people out here that are like, oh, I had a teen pregnancy, so I'm not going to go take my kid to get birth control. But because I'm living in your house, you're going to have to raise my kid and my grandchild. How the fuck? No, I'm not. You know, I don't understand this stuff. Like,
I'm really confused by a lot right now, especially with well, I saw another man and he said that I even said this myself. I'm just gonna say I kind of think the whole sisterhood thing. Let's go ahead and say that. Let's just go ahead. I kind of think that's fake. The whole idea of like all these women piling up together, being like, "I support you," because it almost seems like they want to support you up to an end of a certain direction. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That
until they find
women
out
really
what
do
to
not.
go for.
Yeah, they'll encourage you right out of your marriage. They'll encourage you right out of your relationships. They'll encourage you right out of normalcy, whatever you find normalcy, to whatever end that they desire. Like, I don't have to go anywhere and scream that I'm a woman and yell, I am a woman to be a woman. You just are a woman. And so, yeah, misery loves company, because it's kind of like
It
how,
does.
single women dragging or going with married women on a girls trip, and kind of you go girl and you out of your marriage to the point where you're, they're like, you need to find yourself and discover yourself. And it's like, okay, which if you would like to discover is what it's like on the other side. Like, I feel like people are just encouraging each other out of their whatever they feel is the norm, whatever you're comfortable with. Like, if Susan was wanting to be a career woman, I shouldn't bombard her on one side saying, "Oh, you don't have any kids," like I shouldn't. But then on the other side, here is Susan with no kids. She
But I do
shouldn't.
have two kids. I just
She
wasn't going to
does.
have,
But she
because
won't
other
bombard
people
me by
have
telling
kids.
me like, "Oh, you're a mom," like, making the other feel like they're any less. That's where I
Yeah.
feel like there's something lost in the sauce here, where there's a lot of agenda. Because is there really a war against the sexes, or or is the government using women to sabotage the role of men?
Yes, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Because if you look back, like being a drug detective, I noticed that they specifically, well, I wasn't even a cop then, but like back in the 70s, was it the 70s when they started putting out the WHIP program, and they specifically targeted black neighborhoods. You couldn't have a man in the house, or they wouldn't pay you. So that started the breakup of the family. So you couldn't get assistance. And then it turned to, the CIA putting the guns and drugs in the city. And, your boyfriend would have to sell drugs so you could have assistance. And yeah, it was just like this cycle, this horrible cycle of poverty over and over again. And then they're taking all the young black men, like shit. I remember Biden in the 90s when I was a drug cop saying, calling young black men super predators. Him and Hillary, yes, they're super predators. Go back and look at that. That
Well, yeah.
It just made me so mad. And I specifically worked in those neighborhoods because I knew the cops would not help people. And I'd been the victim of attempted murder. And the cops that came out for me didn't help me. And I was like, fuck these cops. I'm going to go be a better, sorry, I'm just passionate. I'm going to go be a better cop, and I'm going to go help these women and children because they're not getting what they need. And I know I can do better than what these guys, because that guy should have been arrested for felonies, and they just wrote him up for misdemeanors. And he had a lot more guns on him, and they never took his guns.
So it's obvious they're trying to sow seeds of discontent, because on the other side of that, when you're talking about the welfare, I mean, either a man and a woman could be together and they could be married and struggle, or the woman could kick the man out and get welfare. So now the government is now your baby daddy. The
Yep.
government is your husband, your boyfriend, your man. So now you displace men. So in one community, they did it that way. But then we have our Gloria Steinem, our queen of evil, who, like you said, through the CIA comes in one way with her form of sabotage. And
And
no, go ahead, Alex.
yeah, that's a good point you bring up, because a lot of times there's the illusion of empowerment is sold, and it's sold by agents who don't have your best interests at heart.
Mhm.
Because if there's a little cabal of bankers and corporatists at the very tippy top, and they see all of society below, and we are basically livestock to them. Is my mic going in and out a little bit? Am I popping?
It's a little bit low, but I can still hear you.
Lost. I have something prescient to say, so of course it's like not. I have a really good. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It got weird for a second. So my point was, I'll try to spit my point out really quick. A lot of times things are sold as like a health food is sold to you as nourishing and like low fat, or you see canola oil and it's like heart healthy, but it's a seed oil, so it's inflammatory and full of omega-6s. There's a lot of inversion. And if I want you to do, if I'm a part of the cabal at the tippy top and I want you to do something really disempowering, I'm going to sell it to you as the inverse, which is like this. The way to empowerment is, this thing that sabotages you or sabotages a potential relationship or this or that. And then that way I look like an advocate and an ally, when really I may want to keep you as livestock at the bottom, because the haves, sit on a giant pile of, money, power, influence, and we're kind of under that hypnotic spell. And I mean, that's loosening and lessening right now. That's going away. But that's
it? It seems like it's ramped. It seems like it's
the
all
attempts
the way
ramped up, but I don't think they're sticking. Like
Hmm.
the recent pandemic, it was supposed to be deadlier than it really was. The injections everybody wanted us to have, that was supposed to be a lot more, passport, like you're supposed to have a passport and go into a building, right? And like and so they're throwing everything at the wall, and they're like, okay,
throwing everything out to see what sticks. It's coming out because they're throwing racism really hard, they're throwing sexism really hard, they're throwing feminism really hard, and they're throwing everything on the wall. They're throwing celebrities like P. Diddy because those things are terrible. That's this horrible thing of corruption, but and how does it affect your day-to-day life? And so there's just so much to see. It's like too much to see that it's very hard, because like you want to produce even our videos, right? But then it's hard to even make it through the channel without getting something stuck on you. And I think this is what I was talking about, is how these videos, how do you not get dirty? Because they will catch your attention and they will catch your mind. But it's like, how do we get through it without getting dirty? But I'm just going to go ahead and play one more, because I think this is, there are a lot of videos like this. And I'll go ahead and tell you what's happening first. Now, I don't know if exactly if she's on a date with him or not, the really tall woman, and there's a man back here. But what's happening is he's out eating and his ex is destroying his car. And she's got a gang of women doing this. Now, I know you guys have seen that before, where you've seen the pictures of the wife's cheater and the videos and the things. And so I'm going to go ahead and play this. But yeah, it's what happens is when people watch it, it just opens the door so people think, oh, this is a cool thing to do, and let's record it and let's share it. And so it's creating it's some type of magnet where it's building up. and you would say fear mongering, right? But it's not fear. It's, what is it? Hate mongering,
Yeah.
where you're getting people to bond on the most negative levels, is what I'm seeing. So I'll go ahead and play this one.
It's
Go
a
ahead.
low frequency, right?
Right. So I'll go ahead and play this one. Let's go back.
Where's this meow song from?
I don't know. But he's eating his quesadilla. She's like, "Are you gonna call the police?" He just bought the car. I wanted to see the car anyway. Like, go back to looking at the car, and because it's not one person, it's one, two, it's, and then there's like another girl. And so people actually think it's okay, right? But then if he were to get angry, if he were to fight, or if he, they would record that one part and show that he attacked me, and this type of thing.
Danny is saying that she got arrested and charged with felonies. So
Was this a real event? Oh wow.
That's
Yeah, it is a real.
I mean, because sometimes there's a lot of like social media manufacture, and it would be terrible. Like toxic traits are promoted through.
That's
social
even
media
worse than the
scenes.
fake ones, because the fake is promoting the idea of really going to go do it.
Yeah. But that's kind of amazing. So he probably knew he could get the windshield paid for, so he's just like, whatever, get it out of your system.
He said he just bought that car.
Oh man.
Dang.
He just bought it. And she thought it was cool, because that's what the You Go girls do. We support each other. My sisters, we together, and we're going to go, and this is what we're going to do. And it's like, Susan, I know you were like talking about the job that you wanted, but you were still connected, because you still like earthly connection. And I think like the material connection, where we're facing the princess phase, where women are out and doing the princess sprinkle, they're losing their connection. And so I was starting to walk through the store just the other day, and I was seeing all these women. They look so tense and so angry. Everybody looks like they're about to go viral, honestly. Like say something to me and I'm gonna fucking lose my shit inside the grocery store, right in Publix.
It was like that earlier today in the grocery store.
Really?
Yes. I went because they had a sale, and I saw this, and people in Iowa smile at you, And I'm
yeah, or nod or anything.
And we smiled at each other, and this other lady comes up to the counter, and she's like, and I started giggling, and I said, "Look, we're the only two here smiling." But yeah,
I said something
like
to the
so angry.
Yeah, I can feel it when I go to the store. Like people are ready to tussle, and so I was saying to myself, this is where this Karen stuff is coming from. Is something's going on with our energy that's completely different. Like we're just way too disconnected. And so I think some people might have took it personally what I wrote on the page, which was too much communication, but not enough community. Because we're talking a lot online, and I could see even in my little local Facebook group where they have the little rants and raves, well, people will just post something regular and someone will be, you asshole, like they will start cursing each, and I'm thinking like, we're in a community group, like we really don't live that far from each other, where you might want to watch your stuff, because I know we're on Facebook, but you might want to calm down. But I think people really, they're communicating so much, they just say whatever comes, and they with no consequence, no thought of how it hurts anyone else. But we're so connected that we're more disconnected, and we're disconnected from our brain, and we're disconnected from nature, but way too connected with our mouth, with communicating, especially when it comes to saying what's negative. Go ahead, Terry.
I was just going to say, and nobody's connected with their heart.
Heart.
You know, and really, it's if you took all of this and went into your heart and had a conversation with your heart, you know, but now it's about what the perception is out there, and it's like, I've been done wrong or whatever, but based on what? Based on what everybody else says. It's always based on other people's opinions, but the only opinion that we really need is our connection with ourselves. But people, they don't connect. Not everybody, but I mean, a lot of people don't know even how to connect to that. How do they feel? They feel anger, but do they feel anything? What else do they feel?
Can I hop on that?
Yes.
I'm so glad you said that, because everything we're seeing, all these reactions, are not from self-actualized people, fully embodied, grounded people. Too many external things set them aflame. And it's a little bit like the title. I find this really repellent, but there's this title to this Taylor Swift song that I only heard once or twice. And it's called "Look What You Made Me Do." And I'm like, what the hell is that? Look what you made me do. No one made you do anything. You are a sovereign divine being. You can do whatever you want or choose. And when you are grounded and you are anchored and you are a self-actualized, realized divine cosmic being, you're not so easily affected by external factors. And people who aren't quite there are, you know, conditioned to have something external set them off. So I'm glad you said that. I was just like, ding, ding, ding.
Well, you're really batting 1,000 even with that. Look what you made me do, because it's just like right now people are saying, you're triggering me. And we discussed this the other day so you have absolutely no control over yourself. Everything I do affects you. Like when you said the guy farted, so now he triggered you. He made you angry because you lost your job. That made me angry. You overslept. That caused me to bust your window. You know, you didn't answer my phone, so I had to like follow you to your job, or you know, like all the things that we're saying, like you made me do, because I have no control over myself. And wow, just the fact that I love that you said self-actualized, because I'm really into Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where this self-actualization, it leads to later on people are saying they're married for 5, 10, 15 years, or they're in these relationships and they have to find themselves and discover themselves because they've been moving on autopilot this whole time. So where did this come from? What has gotten us to the point, or gotten people to the point where they have made every life decision and now they don't even know who they are? They're in a marriage, in a room next to someone, and they can't stand that person, but they just wanted to be married because their friends were married, or they just wanted to be married because they were a certain age, or they wanted a house or a car, or maybe they couldn't pay rent on their own. Because I do see that finances is a factor too, where you've made all these decisions and now you can't stand yourself or the other person.
I grew up Mormon, and I've seen this multiple times, and I have a family member, not Mormon, who got pregnant and got excited to be pregnant so that they could get registered at Babies R Us. Like, it was like they were checking off a box. Like, okay, like, this is my next little phase and this is my little moment. And it's like, you know, motherhood's like a big deal. Like, you have to get up at 3 a.m., you got to wipe butts, you know, you got to do crap. And I don't think she saw the whole picture of what that would entail. And she was just like, and I'll have my baby shower and everybody will clap for me. And it's like, yeah, and you created human life. And like, okay, what are you going to do for the rest of your life now? And Spoiler alert: she's not a great mother to her multiple kids. So and yeah, I'm sassy, but
I was gonna say that's about like the equivalent of somebody saying, "Oh, I'm gonna have a sweet 16." With a life of consequences.
Or else I want to get married. I know somebody who that's all she dreamed about was getting married and having this wonderful wedding. And she had the wedding of her dreams. And then after that happened, they ended up divorcing within a couple of years. So
because the groom was like a
she had the
stand-in.
wedding of her dreams, and she had everybody there and all the dresses and all and everything, but she didn't have a clue on how the relation. And she's been in I don't know, 3 or 4 marriages and many other relationships. So her expectations were never met. Because okay, yeah, so I got married, so big deal. But I have to live with this person?
Yeah, sounds like she wanted an epic party, and instead of being like, "Oh, I found the one, let's consecrate this," she had a Pinterest board for an epic party and needed an actor stand-in as the husband. I didn't think through, So we had that at BYU a lot, Brigham Young University in Provo, and women,
Right, that's a
men
Mormon
and
college,
women.
right? Yeah.
Oh my God. And they would all, like, these days they're all divorcing very early because they're rushing to the altar. And they're then living with this person. They're like, oh, I got the first available candidate. I didn't wait for my soulmate. And then they end up having a much harder life.
Who
And
takes
just
the
like,
blame for that?
oh,
Because
the
I think
individual,
right now,
certainly not
like
the
men get the
church.
blame
No.
because it's like, oh, I married him and I hate him. He doesn't give me anything I want. I don't like him at all. And and it's like, maybe is this a part of the program that says like all men are wrong and all men suck and all men, and it's like, oh, but you picked him though. Like you were with him. You had to say yes. I know in some cases with the Mormons, maybe they don't get to choose. In some cases with others, they don't get to choose. But for the most part, we're the ones actually choosing the losers. So, and the losers get,
Possible.
like the blame. I mean, there are people who do pretend to the point.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm just asking you all's opinion. What do you think about who's to blame for all these?
I'd say
I
blame is
think there's a
shared.
lot of sorry. I was just going to say, I think there's a lot of society expectations and people just buying into the program without really knowing what they're looking for. This is the checklist that we should have, and but without even exploring who they are themselves. And I think people are looking. They don't know how to have a relationship with themselves, and so therefore they're pushing all that on someone else. And until they can have that relationship with themselves, then it's going to be very difficult for they're going to be looking all the time for a mirror, and they're never going to be happy because they don't know how to communicate with themselves, their own thoughts.
Yeah. And we seem to, through our media and through our societal programming, encourage a passivity and like be active in all the wrong ways and be passive in all the wrong ways. And you should be active, you should be passive at certain times. But like you pull up a Hallmark Christmas movie and there's very much a wait to be asked to the dance, then give him a hint but don't actually say what you're thinking or feeling. And then if he doesn't pick up the hint, get angry. And there's people are programmed to be not like, I always think like the most, like I always think about French women, like women in France. And I'm like, would a French woman be able to be inserted into this Hallmark movie and then like have the plot still happen? Or would the French woman be like, so are we going to do this or not? And it's like, yeah, let's do it. It's like, okay, that sounds good. And, there's sort of I think in a lot of ways we get programmed through Taylor Swift songs.
So are you saying they like American wise, we're painting ourselves as victims in all situations? Because it does seem like I've been in some groups where it makes it seem as though I don't know, there are people who had bad situations. They will step on you to be first in line to say no, you know, we didn't have a choice, and in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, women didn't have choices. And I'm like, so you're saying no women had choices? So you're saying the woman on the burning bed represents everybody? It's as if, you know, you can take these bad examples of these bad cases and try to say they represent all of us. And that just seems to be this need to make a broad generalization in these situations when there's a negative situation, to make it seem as if, oh, well, like as if all women don't enjoy cooking and all women don't enjoy having kids and all women, like putting us all in one lump sum category so that we can fight the power, when I just don't think that's the case. And all women didn't marry men that were bad because she had no choice. We were all thrown in wagons and kidnapped and taken on to the altar where our parents signed these papers. So it gets a little fuzzy. And I left this on the screen because it says when women have babies, you have to step up as a man. So seems to me kind of backwards, doesn't it? Because you're talking about, that seems like a consequence of a consequence, when we as women, I don't know, we want to have fun, and men they want to have fun, like, so we're all out here, and some of us are really starting off serious in life maybe, but we want to have fun, but we're waiting until we get a consequence to face the consequences. When if you want to just be in the sports, be in the sports. But if you're wanting to plan a life, you don't want to plan it based on a consequence of a action. I'm not going to get into like abortion or anything like that, but you're not supposed to be marrying people because you're pregnant, right? But we would like to say that this is his fault, so he needs to step up. But as women, can we pull back the power and say, well, maybe if you don't want to have babies or don't want to have sex, maybe, or pull back on some, like somehow, so there has to be like some other type of responsibility before getting pregnant, is what I'm saying.
Be moral, go oral.
I'm not trying to say to be a virgin, because I mean, I don't think I was trying to be one. So
no, what I said wasn't virginal, but
yeah. But I never did enjoy the idea of making it someone else's choice when I was playing sports. You know what I mean? Like, is it someone else's responsibility when I know we were just playing sports? We were just having fun. Then I'm gonna be like, well, you gotta do something. like now, if it is.
So when I was
Terry too, I want you to speak on this because I don't know if you know any. Because you got some cases.
I have some cases.
Yeah, where you know maybe people back in the past who, because I don't believe it should be a consequence. And Susan,
you know what? And back in my day, yeah, you either you got married, and I know a lot of my friends, or I know, a lot of marriages didn't work, and some of them did. But when you're 18 or 19 years old, 50 years of marriage, there's a lot of resentments, even though people have stayed married.
Ooh, resentment, right? Like you can't fix it by forcing people to get married.
No. And a lot of people, like I said, from my generation, they stayed together for the sake of the family, right? Things have changed. There's been a big change, and of course, I live in probably a part of the country where I live where maybe it's a little bit more traditional. But Yeah, you had a lot of and now, you know, like I see different generations where there are a lot of single parents, a lot of single women trying to raise their children, and you know, the father's not part of the situation. So one is not better than the other. It's just navigating through the times, and people trying to find um, a way to thrive.
Alex, I'll let you go ahead and say what you were going to say because I have a question about this.
Yeah. I noticed years ago I did a Mormon mission. So I was like a Mormon missionary, but that was like 20 years ago, and that's not my vibe now. I'm not part of that. But I went to Santiago, Chile. So I'm in Chile in South America. It's an incredibly Catholic, just so predominantly Catholic country. And there was a lot of like sex shame, abstinence, this and that. So no one ever like learned to like wrap it with a condom if you were going to go to Pound Town. You know what I mean? Like and the rates of teen pregnancy were astronomical. It was unreal and insane. And so I've noticed that when we just don't give people the tools to just, you know, figure out their plumbing, their own plumbing, be empowered about their own plumbing, like maybe don't invite in like if semen makes you impregnated, maybe don't invite it in that specific. Yeah, I mean, there's
They
plenty of
say it's
ways
called
to.
"Don't shoot up the club." If you know, don't shoot up the club.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great.
I love it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, if you know the consequence is pregnancy, then why are you shooting up the club?
And
So,
they don't. That's kind of. I mean, the people at the Catholic Church does, but like teens don't. They mess with their plumbing and then they go, oh.
well, you hit a good
crap,
point
I'm a
too,
mom
because
now.
I also think if you're going, you know, a lot of people will. They can't find their own orgasms. They have not masturbated. They really don't know anything about their body. And then you're wondering why you're not satisfied. So a lot of people are hopping around not satisfied because you really don't know what to do with your own stuff, right? But now you're in a relationship, you can't really get satisfied. And so I don't know, there's a lot going on with that. But we're shooting up the club. Why are we shooting up the club? And then being like, you got to stand up for your responsibility. You know, it's a little backwards. Okay, so if this is the case and everybody, you know, what we were seeing before, like what you said, Terry, it was a consequence. And so you're going to think you're going to get married, but you're not even really prepared for a relationship. Why? We're not really taught anything about finances. We're not really taught anything about how to be married or how to even be in a relationship. We're not even taught, but I mean, who can we blame? Because we're all being raised by people that aren't necessarily functional themselves. So how do we teach it? Where do we teach it? Is there anything like being prepared? Can you be prepared
Shoot,
for
when
it?
I went to pre-Cana classes with my late husband, because I was raised cradle Catholic, and then he was a convert, and we got to pre-Cana classes, and they had this long list of your wants and needs and stuff, and your expectations in marriage, and how many children you wanted to have, and I put on mine that I wanted to have one more because I had a son from a previous marriage and I wanted to have a daughter. So I see his and he says he wants no kids. And I said, well, if we're not going to have any children, I don't see the point in being married. And he got really angry with me. He told me he was going to break up with me if I wouldn't get married to him, you know? Yeah. And, yeah, I don't see, and that's another thing. Like, why are you married but you're a swinger or poly? Why aren't you just single? That none of this shit makes any sense to me. But then with those pre-Cana classes, I was sitting there going, why am I getting married to you? Because their wants and needs are different, you know?
This is what I'm seeing is different. That people are not, they're not talking about any of the things that they really like sexually. They're not talking about how many kids they want, or they kind of take for granted that the other person will change. Like people think, oh, this person's going to change. And it's like, no, you shouldn't expect that at all. And we're not, I don't know. What are we talking about when we go on dates then? if we not,
Well, I mean,
if we don't have any of these stuff, what are we talking about?
if you're trying to present something like this is what I think she wants to hear, then you end up getting trapped into something that you don't want. But if you're just like, look, this is me, I want kids, or I don't want kids, you gotta lead with that.
People
and then
are
that
so
way they
weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, because I mean,
because
if
people
somebody
are starting off with pretending to be someone else, and then waiting for the big reveal after you like them, not realizing this is completely backwards.
Yeah.
Let the dirt out of the bag up front. But go ahead.
Well, because I mean, if people can just be upfront with it, because not everyone's meant to be a parent, but then there's a lot of people who want to be parents that don't get the opportunity. So then if people can just be like, look, this is me, like I want a good, traditional life, and I want to have a great, strong family. And then someone else is like, that doesn't sound good to me. And they don't go, okay, maybe I can be talked into it. And then they're like a shitty parent. Like, let them release from orbit. And then someone comes in and they're like, ooh, I want to be like, we would make like gorgeous kids. Let's fucking do this. And then it's like, there you go. It's a beautiful.
Are you inviting me? Because I was thinking
I'll
that
take
too,
yes for an answer.
Yeah, I know, right? Yes for the square. No, it's like
She's been
no,
talking
but
about
yeah,
kids and responsibilities because Alex is here, and I have some cousins that are gay and they're married, and I was thinking, you know what? If we were going to talk about child support, and I had like a married gay couple that was friends, and they're like, hey, would you carry a surrogate for me? Because we can't. Yeah, I would definitely sign a contract saying that I'm not going to be responsible to raise that child, even though it's probably part me because they're probably using my egg. But so it's all their child. But yeah, I don't know how people can make a child and not feel any responsibility for it. Because even if I did that once, like a surrogate, and gave it to them, I'd still want to like see what that child looks like over the years, because I wonder what happened to that piece of me, especially if it was a girl, because I have 2 sons. I don't have any girls. So I don't know, but you're going to have to be responsible in every way, because like I was looking, I have grandkids, and I got to teach them some of the stuff I know, and I don't like being, because they try to put me in a box, or hey, you're supposed to be mom, you're supposed to have 2.5 kids and stay at home. And like my mom told me that she hated feminism. She thought it just forced us to work harder. She's like, you're going to have to work, come home, make all the food, clean up everything, which was basically what I was stuck doing here. And I was very resentful that I'm doing all this stuff and I'm not getting any monetary or financial assistance from somebody else. They can beat feet out of here, because I work, I make the food, I'll go get the food, but you gotta be a man and be able to fix things around the house, change the oil in my car, do stuff like that I can't do. I need somebody to compliment me, do the things that I can't do. That's what I would be looking for in a mate. And I think men are awesome. And if there's a dude out there that owns a kilt, DM me.
She asked for the DM.
But yeah, I'm just joking, because that was a Scotsman, still one of my fantasies. Give me some hot Scotsman in a kilt.
So we were discussing that war to sexes and the images, the tropes, these images where we're being painted like this is how women must respond and this is how men are, and all these, just ways where we're doing each other injustice publicly online on a consistent basis is very penetrating. And then I guess I see a lot of videos that make me actually very sad. But I'm also just noticing in myself, like, why do you feel or think the way that you do? And this is what we're talking about, maybe having that self-awareness, because it goes very, very deep into the essence of who we are, how we're responding to things and how we're behaving, that it takes real self-discovery. Even, even though we're mostly talking about women, but even as men, examine yourself on how maybe you respond when women talk, like, she's nagging again. That's a programmed response. That's a programmed way to be, so that it's not endearing, it's not nurturing, and it's not like, what's my sugar muffin want? You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, here she comes again. She's about to ask me to do something. And it's like we're like really having to examine this thing that's making us feel like why we're enemies when we're all being manipulated in this way. And I don't know if you guys have any tropes or any things where you've examined in your own self where you see, is that me? Is that really me because I'm a woman, or is that me because it's me? Is it me because I'm Alex, or is that me because it's me? Is it, what part of me is programming? So have you thought about these things? I would say one, too, because as women, we do not do well with rejection. So I began to understand, like, okay, well, if we're dating and it's online, I need to be doing this. This needs to be fun. And if it's not fun, then I need to move on quickly and not be, waiting on the one person to call, or waiting on this one person that's going to be my dream date savior. But that if my own life isn't fun, if I'm not making my own life fun, if I'm not making my own, monetary life rewarding, if I'm not making myself fulfilled, none of this is going to be fun. And I think this is what I'm seeing, where people are disgruntled now because you depended on someone else for your happiness, you depended on someone else for your joy, and now you can't get any more out of them. You can't squeeze the joy out of them because you didn't have it already for yourself. And then
And
going to that, what you were saying about people pretending to be who you want, and then you finding out. But go ahead, Alex.
and if you're so expectant on them always providing the joy, and they no longer are providing the joy, are you 50-50 in the relationship, or are you an energy vampire? You get what I mean? And people aren't
That's
naturally
so
vampiric,
funny.
but yeah, I think a lot of times there's a passivity, like, he's not fun anymore. And it's just like, are you
It
fun?
seems to be
Are
all
you
laying on
fun?
either or person. It's and I don't want to just keep saying it about women, because it seems to be landing on everything is landing on this other person's not fun, or the other person's not making enough money, or the other person's not whatever this thing it is that you want.
Well, you know what? The thing is we're always looking for someone else to fulfill us, right? And we want to be fulfilled by someone else in a relationship. But what is it? What are those? And we have expectations. And so, what are the expectations that we have? And as soon as we put expectations, we're not coming from a place of unconditional, right? I will love you based on these conditions, and that's really stuff that needs to be addressed by a person, like, because love doesn't have to be, you can love someone without having all of these expectations on it. But that comes from just a place of spiritual maturity, and people aren't always ready for that. They want
So then
their needs fulfilled.
and that
This is
leads
my
to, was it ever love in the
your
first place?
needs. I don't care what your needs are. This is what I need.
But was it ever love in the first place then?
Or was it ever love in the first place? No, it's fulfill this need. Buy me a new car. Buy me this, or tell me I look pretty with this, or I want this 3-carat ring. And if you really love me, that's what you're going to do. If you love me, and hey, listen, I know people who, well, if you love me, then you'll do this for me, honey, and then we can, maybe we'll have sex afterwards. But you
What's
don't.
that childlike behavior?
Therefore, we're not having sex leader.
And that's that transactional trope like behavior that's being promoted. Is this is what we're supposed to do? Shake that moneymaker. Because you said this, Alex. I saw this yesterday, and I wrote about it yesterday.
Oh,
Because this is exactly what an energy vampire does. And it says vampires suck your blood for vitamin D because they can't go outside in the sun for themselves. Now, the joke part is you don't even, you ever think about that? No, because you're only thinking about yourself. But the actual real part, what he's saying, they can't go out in the sun for themselves. So people can't find joy for themselves. So I feel like they're entering the relationships thinking that this person is going to complete them. What's that, Jerry Maguire? And complete them in some way and bring them the sunlight and bring them the money and bring them the joy and bring them the whatever it is that they can't fulfill for themselves. And now when that person can't give you the things you want, God, it just reminds me of a kid with a pacifier.
Mm.
Because you're gonna throw the pacifier down on the floor, right? Because you're tired. It's like, this doesn't taste good anymore. Just throw it on out.
It's not 50-50. It's like 99%, 1%. Like somebody's doing all the work, and then one person is like the warm body that's present, and that's not empowering. So it's funny. It's like we see these like programming things that are like, what's his bank account and all this stuff. And you're just
so funny that you said warm body, because Seinfeld, he says, he has a part of his stand-up, he talks about this, is like with the woman, it says, do you take, and it was like, do you take this man? Could have been any man, right? The guys, they all have the same suit, but the woman gets to pick this fancy dress. It's like, nah, this guy, whoever this stand-in is. I think, I don't know. What I see is it's getting to this point where we're just outside blaming, right? Just kind of blaming the next person for not. And now it's a meme, it's a trope, it's videos, it's all this. They did this to us, and I don't think a lot of women are really knowing who's leading their revolution.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Got Milk ad. It's not no particular, the man behind the don't look at me, the man behind the curtain pulling the strings, or and I don't want to say the man, like the man, but there's someone behind the curtain, and they're having a lot of fun right now watching us, this fake war of the sexes.
Because if you get your livestock to squabble, you can get away with like stealing millions and billions and trillions at the tippy top.
Yeah.
In the grocery store, though, I was thinking, oh, the people probably think I'm going to vote for Kamala. That's why they're looking at me mad. Like, do I gotta wear a T-shirt in the store or so? Like, it's really, I really want to know. Like, I just really want to know what is it that's bothering you today? Why are you so disconnected? But then we're also feel like we don't really like each other that much. Maybe people don't like each other that much. I think maybe because too, I mean, people say the wrong thing so much. Maybe people are learning to be quiet. I don't know what it is, but right now it's very quiet. I'm thinking not going outside on election day or the day after. So
that's probably a good idea.
I don't have to worry about that.
Oh yeah, you're right. You don't even have a crazy.
Well, she pointed it out.
I get to watch it.
Well, Canadians are watching. They're standing. They're like the operators. They're standing by.
Yeah.
They want to see. They want to see if we're going to flood their borders, I guess.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, your guys' prime minister is like.
Well, I know. Well, that's a total write-off. So yeah.
Oh,
he is creepy. That guy.
Yeah.
Someone mailed him a foot.
Oh yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah.
I know,
God, for real?
No, for real.
Yeah.
This guy graduated from hurting animals to actually killing a person and then mailed him a foot. But he was also talking about some human trafficking type stuff. And I'm like, interesting. Something else behind this story. But yeah.
Which a lot's coming out right now. So like we're trying to have an election and the truths of how our world and realm operates is coming to the surface and you can't hide it. There's a nakedness to it. Like if you're a nasty actor, that's naked. If you're a cool, good being of light, that's also naked. So that's fine over here, but like, you know, the Diddy freak offs, the pay to play, the politicians, celebrities, and other business people having blackmail and operating because they have blackmail. It's all coming to light. It's all coming up. Can't help it.
Leanne said that she present. I think a lot of us. I mean, I think we from lifetime to lifetime we trade places. I for sure have been a man a lot of times, but we're seeing some of these disgruntled women. Maybe they were men in their past life. Maybe that's why they're so disgruntled. But anyway, I think a lot of us we're even when it comes to that, Leanne, like what is feminine and what is masculine when it comes to being a woman anyway. I think a lot of women can feel thrust out of their category because of the label of what we're supposed to. There's just so much supposed to be.
Yeah.
That it doesn't leave much room for us to be who we are. That's what I think. I think there's way too many crayons in the box that are telling us where the line is. And I don't know if, I don't know how we're supposed to present. I'm not even beginning to assume anymore because I see so much gray. I see way more gray than anything else.
Yeah.
So, but Alex, we enjoyed you. I don't know if you would want to sum up. What do you think about this war of the sexes? And are people fighting with you?
Yeah.
Do you get to stay on the? Do you get to stay on the neutral line, or are you feeling? How do you feel about it all?
Well, sometimes, you know, like, what am I, a gay dude? I am, right? So sometimes I feel like I'm on the outside looking in, and you see the traditional frameworks of how people operate and how families form. And there's this guy named Kurt Metzger who is a commentator on the Jimmy Dore show, and he said, like, you know, what's really funny is the nuclear family, as we're sold in American thought, like two parents and kids, is a bit of a corporate creation because families are, you know, two parents and a kid, but like a village, multi-generational households, right? Like grandma and grandpa are around, right? Like, and the powers that be have done a very good job of like segmenting, you know, corralling.
Norman Rockwell image of what family should be.
And then consistently making it like, okay, you know, a family has to live on their own. Okay, now both parents have to work. Okay, now no one's at home. Oh, you know what I mean? Like it devolves as opposed to, you know. So I think we're coming back to localism. I think we're coming back to, you know, the natural human template, which is like parents, kids, support structure around the village, the cul-de-sac. Like one mom is babysitting a lot, the other mom cooks for the street, right? And we're coming back into that groove, I think, even though in media and all this crazy shit, we're watching craziness go down on the media and on the boob tube, but like locally, we're going to come back to basics. And it's going to seem chaotic.
Sounds good. I'd like to see it. You know what I noticed? I went to this yard sale on another side of town, and the lady said, "Oh yeah, I go to the church. The church was by my house." When you'd have to pass 100 churches to get to this church next to my house, like people are selecting who their community is instead of working with the environment on who their community is. It's another part of that. A lot of communication, not enough community. Where I don't I know the man that lives in front of me and the man that lives behind me, and this other man right there, the people that live behind me. I know those 3 houses. I know 3 houses on this whole block. But if someone was just jogging down the street, I really don't know if they actually live in my neighborhood or not.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of smudging. Like, look at us. We got the Midwest, Canada, Florida, and Seattle, Washington, all on one call.
Yeah.
None of us are in the same room. So there is a beauty to, I think we're leaving centralized authority and control, and we're not necessarily like, so maybe localism can be taken literally, and kind of like we're coming together as like-minded individuals and beings. And the cabal hates that because they're like, no, I'm supposed to program you. And we're like, oh no, we make our own choices and do what's right by our own people and our tribe. I think it's tribal. I think we're coming into tribes. Yeah. And like, I don't know, ladies, as a gay man, and I'll mansplain this.
Oh, thank you very much for mansplaining that for me. Thank you very much.
Anytime. I gotta help my little ladies. No, no, but I mean, like, there's
That's F is for family. I had to do that voice anyway.
No, I remember that. That was a good cartoon with Bill Burr. Yeah,
Yeah.
love that shit. I mean, be self-actualized, and when you are the right, you get connected to the right man. You get to be your full divine being, and then you build and blossom that beautiful life, like those kids, that man, that great house. It, like, summon it, and don't try to manufacture it. And I think, and this is Western women, I feel like I feel like this is not a big problem in Europe or Asia or South America, but I feel like in North America we have a lot of programming. And I'm like, rise above the programming. You are a sovereign divine being. You are a goddess, and you deserve like the best man to be alongside you. And you just present yourself, and you're like, this is what I am. And that great man, the universe brings that great man to you. And I think it's beautiful. Anyway, all right.
I'm gonna sabotage this whole thing. I'm gonna sabotage it because I'm gonna play one more video, and because I'm trying to understand these guys, their point of view, because I'm not sure. I don't know if they helping or hurting, but anyway, I'm gonna play it anyway because they're funny. I like them anyway, but.
Used for cooking. Oh my gosh, the one he used for cooking. So he's like a chef.
I know, right? And every
Go off.
The other day, he was driving me to a view, right, with Boba. I opened this, condoms everywhere. And we don't use those. That's what I'm...
Wow.
I know.
So he's like safe.
I know. They're
Oh my gosh.
His ex called him, and he like started cussing her out and calling her like all these mean names.
Wow.
Yeah, it was scary.
Sounds like he's good at communication.
I know, that's what I thought.
We were arguing in the car, and he started driving so fucking fast.
Oh my god.
Literally, I thought we were gonna crash.
That fast? Mm-hmm. So he has like a really fast car, huh?
It's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Okay, pop off Vin Diesel.
The other night.
I don't know who are they making fun of them. I don't know. Well, they're saying that women make bad decisions, like these red flags. But I guess it goes back to what I was saying. Like some of us, like, what are the red flags? Like, what do you want? What do you desire? What will you allow? What will you accept? And I think we have to like start with us and our choices. What we will allow when you're uncomfortable, when you're disrespected, when you're like put in a place that that you don't desire to be in. We have this choice, and it starts really early, but maybe some of us don't really see it. And Terry, you made some great choices. You have a beautiful daughter, but now we're putting you back out in these streets again, and we're gonna put your ass back out there. And
it's really hard, I'll tell you. It's a lot of work, but you know what? No, I'm just. I just wanted to say this is that I think that we're talking about all of this, but there's other issues that people go through, and a lot of people have had very challenging upbringings and all that, and they bring that. If they haven't worked on themselves, if they hadn't had the proper healing, they bring those things into relationships, and I think a lot of stuff is because of what they've gone through, and they haven't addressed any of that. So I think we can look at all of these things and see the way that people are reacting, but there's something deeper that hasn't been dealt with. And so I don't think we all approach things the same way.
Right. We're on this healing journey. And I think what pops up, these little things that pop up from out of our past that are making us afraid, making us reactive, making us quick to quit or let go. Because what I notice when we've been talking about dating, and we're talking about people in our community too, that they're exhausted, don't want to try, or ready to give up. Do you have advice for? Do you guys have advice for that? Because what it is these little things are popping up, the past experiences and the negative programming and these things are popping up, and it's getting in the way. Like, people don't want what they want so much that they're willing to go through something to get what they really want. Instead, it's easier to be like, oh, I don't do that anymore. I'm not going to try this. Or, they just really kind of want to lay it down, not really understanding what you desire wants you. You wouldn't have the desire for it if it wasn't there for you. There is really a person that matches your energy, that desires to be at this equal state. But maybe, we get blinded, with the wrong person coming along, or we just, someone steps on our toe during the journey and we just want to give up. And I like that Danny said that, never give up. And then also Danny is being sarcastic, talk about because they listen to women. Oh, anyway. But anyway, he
speaks true. No, I'm messing.
But Susan, did you have advice for that too? Because we're not giving up on you either, Susan. We're putting you back out there on the streets. So
well, my thing is, I don't know why I keep attracting these feminine men, and I need somebody that's masculine, that I feel that makes me feel. I know it sounds corny, but I remember one of my partners in the drug unit. He was this huge guy, and he said, he's like, is it true women want somebody that would stop a bullet for them? I'm like, yeah. I want to know that even though I'm a cop and have a gun, I want you to jump in front of that bullet so that I can live and take care of our children. I was like, basically, all women want that. We want to think that you're gonna, you're gonna save us, but I don't actually want you to jump in front of a bullet. But that you would save me and the kids. But now I'm an empty nester, but I still want that masculine energy, somebody who can do all that stuff. But then I was a cop, so I'm used to working around real masculine guys. So I can't deal with some guy that's going to whine and cry all the time, because I'm going to be like, ew, get away from me, because I don't want to be your mommy. I mean, it's okay. We got emotions and stuff, but like, I can't deal with that every single day, having somebody that's crying and whining and playing a victim. I just can't, because I got, I'm not going to.
We need an all male panel so we can address that then.
But I'm like, because I'm like, why do I attract feminine men then? Because the last masculine one was my late husband, and I need a masculine guy like that,
Do you think it's possible for a woman to attract a feminine man and maybe go deeper into her feminine to bring out his masculine?
I was never a princess. I always wanted to be strong and powerful.
So see, you're gonna have to go get Hercules, or you really do need to go get you a Viking or some shit because you.
Or a Scotsman in a kilt.
Somebody that's taller,
Go ahead,
has
Alec.
better muscles than me, because
The paradox we might be experiencing as your gay wingman is you're strong, you're impervious, you have armor. So you are safe and you are protective. So you are
Yeah, I
getting
know.
that feminine type of energy. And you're just like, well, who's going to sweep me off my feet like in an officer and a gentleman? So you might have to like express vulnerability or do the like
You
drop your
have to become
handkerchief and be
more.
like tee, like I don't know, like I mean, but you are such a strong divine warrior. Like you're just like, no, I got my like shield and I got my scepter and I'm like strong, and it's like I don't know, I don't like.
I just
Yeah.
want somebody that's like me to go out and have fun with. So yeah, as a companion, I don't need you to pay my bills, but yeah, I want you to. Yeah, it would be nice because like when you were saying, well, how it's going out half on a date, and I'm like, even though. Like, see, this is why I don't understand feminism, because I worked a man's job and then I came home and did like girly stuff that I like to do. And I put an apron on, and people were like, "Oh, that's the same person." I'm like, "Yeah, but I have different lives because I had this public persona." But then I'm like mom or grandma when I'm home, but I still got my gun and stuff. I just want to take my cape off when I come home and have somebody that's a protector, so I don't have to keep my cape on all the time. You know?
Danny,
Yeah.
does Danny plan on inboxing you? He says you just need some more Irish, and he looks a bit Irish. And men and women have different amounts of yin and yang. That's true. Every man wants to protect his little sister, even though she's a warrior. I mean, he's got the words. I don't know. He sounds really good. So
How old are you, Danny?
he already said, "How old are you?" and inbox her. She is on Facebook. I am not
I'm
Irish.
saying
I'm
this
But
this
you
could
look,
be this could be a
but the
cute
icon
pairing.
looks really cute, Danny. So I mean, I don't know. Send her the pic and see if she. He said done. So we'll be checking that inbox later. So
I want an update.
So you're running
I'm
a dating
following this
site
with
now,
popcorn.
Erica? Oh, this is a dating site now?
Pretty
this
much,
is, I
yeah.
mean, we've always been open for solicitation. So
I love Cosmic Mama's like bling bling bling
You
bling
own a
bling.
kilt, Danny?
I mean, I'm sure he's willing to go get a kilt. He said, DM me the Facebook. It doesn't show up. Okay, it doesn't. Let's find Susan on Facebook real quick. All right, so you
We'll
can
match
see.
make that stuff.
All right.
Even though I have a
This could be a divine
1,500
synchronicity.
friends, I
This
still
is
have a private. Yeah.
Okay, there she goes. If you don't see that red hair, there you go. Check her out. There she goes. I don't have a kilt, but love free balling. He loves free balling. And I'm sure that you guys can find one, a kilt. So
That's great.
operators are standing by. So, anywho,
Percent
we
Irish wants a Celtic redhead. Of course.
of course that was fun. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, I guess the for me the summary is keep your heart and your mind right connected, where you're go by your own way. I think there's so many ideas of what men should be like, what women should be like, and how we should behave. And really, there's this secret room where you and the person you're with, you go into and you actually share who you really are. And that's really the only determination, you know what I mean, of who you should be, how you should perform and such, because it really is up to the two of you finding that person that is going to compliment you and not judge you or degrade you, but someone that makes you feel welcome. And whatever the package is, we got to take off these masks and these ideas of these materialistic ideas and get into like real world survival and connection and out of this programming.
Here.
I don't understand what
Think of
she's
that.
saying. What is he saying? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And I would say don't give up. Just keep clicking button and swiping left and going to grocery stores and whatever it is, wherever if you're shopping for men at Home Depot and you're going to Michael's if you want to pick up women, I mean, do what you do.
Usually talk to me at the grocery store if I'm out getting some kind of supplies or whatever. I'll see little old widows will come walking up to me, and then they'll please. I was like, "Did you get the COVID jab?" And they're like, "Yeah, I did, so I could visit my wife in hospice or whatever." I'm like, "Well, sorry about that, but I don't date any people that purposely put nanotech in them."
Well, Danny, put it out real quick if you got it, because we're wrapping up. I don't know, Susan, if you had some final words, any advice for anybody else, because it seemed like when you get into it, you'd be like, "Girl, I'm losing my shit." Like,
I'm pretty calm this week, but
yeah, you are.
I've got the Tesla, but because nobody's undiagnosed son's bothering me. Then that's the truth. There's only one person that gets me really mad. But I do have Bill Tyson's Tesla bubble downstairs, and it's making me feel better. And I was worried today when I went to pay my mortgage payment. I'm like, oh shit! And then I burned some candles last night, asking for some more clients because they didn't schedule me again today. And then one of my clients texted me and said, "Hey, you got time for me? A back sore?" I'm like, "Sure." And then somebody I gave a card to last Saturday when I was a friend of mine in town was like, "Come out to dinner with us." And I was like, "Okay." So they treated me and they introduced me to somebody. I was like, "Oh, here's my card." And he's like, "You do deep tissue?" And I said, "I do all kinds of advanced techniques because I've been doing this 15 years. So yeah, you don't always need deep tissue." And he called up today and worked on him for an hour and a half. And then he bought one of my salves too. So yeah, I made out pretty well today, thinking I didn't have any clients. And I'm like, yes. So I need to do a 7-day meditation and jump a timeline and manifest some more stuff with myself.
She's cranking it out there. She's productive. Terry is also single in Canada. Is a huge place, but she's out there in Manitoba. She said, he said, watch my big fat Greek wedding. But his dating advice is be bold, be sincere, and be like you need help. I think a lot of people aren't vulnerable. Yeah, they're kind of putting it out there, but don't want to be vulnerable. It's amazing how people don't really want to be vulnerable. They want to date, but then act like they don't really want nobody. But stop the nonsense. Everybody needs somebody to watch their back. Stop it. But you cannot reach that middle spot and scratch real good. You cannot. So stop acting like you don't need help. Anyway, I don't know, Terry.
In the meantime, you might need a back scratcher.
I just don't think it is as good.
It's not as good. It's not as good.
Really good. Really good. It's a dance. I could be single if she's got money. Shut up, Matthew. Anyway. Hey, Morgan. Sorry if we missed you, but thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. And we're gonna have Alex back, and on a different note soon. Love y'all. Peace, love, and happiness to you too. And let's get flued out, y'all. Let's get flued out. Yeah. We stayed over. We're late. We know y'all got things to do because it's Friday night.